Hello, everybody. Thank you for coming here and for being here. Thank you for inviting. We'd like to say thank you for the co-organizers, the CTK, and also congratulations for your celebration. And thank you for listening so far. I know we are a bit late, so that's why I'll try to compress a bit my presentation. If you don't mind, I will run through some of my slides, not all of them. So the presentation today is about a sea change in research, which I have been invited to deliver today as a follow-up of a workshop that we had in Geneva this summer. And thank you for inviting me. I hope you will find it interesting. So please do use the Slido code to interact with me, to pose your questions, and also to have this and collect these questions over the day for the panel in the end of today. First of all, I'd like to show you two papers that came up last year in The Guardian, speaking about the competition in research. One of these papers is an anonymous paper, and The Guardian is not that kind of tabloid that it's publishing any kind of paper. They are deeply looking to see what they want to report. They have a very strong section in science and academic life. So they decided to publish this anonymous paper, which is speaking about the competition, if it's driving really the innovation or is damaging research. I won't get through the details, being time concerned, but the author is claiming that they are pushed to be first. They are pushed to embed a culture in which they need researchers to be first in all fields, and they must to keep secret their work. Doing this can make or break their career, or decide a grand outcome. He's also saluting in his paper Wellcome Trust, which is decided to make their competition open and to publish their competitions and the applications to their competition, regardless if it's successful or not. Who knows, maybe a rejected proposal could be embraced by a colleague. I highly recommend you to read this article to understand the difference and the spirit of competing or collaborating in research. The link, you will have this presentation, the link is on this slide. The second paper, it's in an interview with a very successful author and consultant, Margaret Hefferman. And her thesis is that students compete for places and grades. Academics compete for jobs, publication spaces, and fundings. Everyone is being ranked everywhere, and this is toxic for research. This is her thesis. I don't say that I agree with all of her theses, but some of them looks to me quite accurate. Leaders, in her opinion, are determined to improve them, often unwittingly absorbing external set of values that measure not their definition of success, but someone else's definition of success. And the more existential question that leaders at universities and research organizations should pose to themselves is whether they need to ponder if the universities are educational and research machines or communities. Again, I warmly invite you to read this paper. You don't need to agree with everything, but it could raise ideas and considerations regarding competition in research. First of all, we need to understand the concept of competition, I think. Running competitions is just one way, among several others, to measure the success if you are a competitor, or to make achievements, to create deliveries if you are an organizer, in our case, a funder. The question is, running competition is only and maybe the right meaning of tackling the grand challenges on our life. Like famine, like turning the wave of pollution, like combating diseases and all other grand challenges. Is competition the right and the only meaning of achieving results in these fields? My answer is no. We need something else to bring in the equation. We need collaboration. And I invite you to think which level should play collaboration in regards to competition and the importance in the economy of research. I know that research is running on a different economy than the normal one. It's the reputation economy. So how do we get reputation for our collaboration spirit? When you compete, you measure your success by someone else's definition of it. When you collaborate, you do something more. You achieve meaningful and, most importantly, transformative results, not all sorts of results, the results that are able to transform. Competition, in my opinion, is good as long as it is constructive, and you can achieve that by collaborating in the same time at eye level with competition. So this presentation, it's a follow-up of a workshop that I was invited to organize at CERN University of Geneva workshop, which happens every second year. And that workshop was trying to find stepping stones of bringing up collaboration at the eye level, as I said again, of competition. We had 8 countries representative with 15 participants. Miro was one of the participants, and thank you very much for being there. And one of the things that we established there is that open science is not bulletproofed against all sort of hazards. I will speed up a bit, but I think it's good to consider if this, what we reach as not conclusions, but as a thesis, are good and interesting maybe for you to explore. One of these hazards of open science is the failure itself of the movement, not being able to attract the biggest talents and to nurture diverse communities. And this is one of the biggest hazards. If open science is failing in that way, it's very hard to believe that it will return. A second one is to become an exclusive movement of public research and to put yet another barrier with the rest of society, saying that this is a movement that we are doing here in academic institutions. Stay away if you are not an academic institution. To associate open with ignore, especially when it comes to costs, and to think that open science could be delivered with no cost, or ignoring those. And lastly, to build blocks of net beneficiaries that rarely move to contributors. Open science is delivered by contributing to the movement, not expecting others to contribute, and you just, not you, but others just to be the beneficiaries of others' work. Having that in mind, we were thinking to a sea change, and this is how the sea change, in my opinion, is looking like. The competition today is about being the first in everything, being the first that promote new ideas, that the one that is winning the calls for funding, to be the first that discover, the first that communicate in any way, to obtain a position in your academic tenure, to publish more, to fight for publishing spaces, to get more attention, see citations, to reach bigger index because everybody is measured by someone. And in the end, you compete to win something. That's fine, but it's better if you bring something next to this competition, and that's collaboration. When you will get access to more resources, shared infrastructure, you will be efficient and responsible in the use of these resources. You will attract and build collective intelligence. You will activate micro-expertise groups that might not exist next to you immediately. Save time and reuse your findings. Communicate more efficiently. Disseminate and share. In the end, collaboration is not about winning, it's about gaining. We had a number of conclusions in our workshop. I really regret there is not enough time to have them all. I don't like very textual slides, rich textual slides. But some of these conclusions is that, for example, collaboration is a sign of research integrity and should be built in institutions and careers. Second is that we need to measure, if we insist to measure things, we need to measure the success of funders. If you look to the stakeholders of research, the funders are the only ones that are not measured in any sense. And don't tell me that they are measured by being elected politically. Again, that's not a measurement. The result of their decision to invest in direction A or B should be measured. Project competitions have the potential of leaving behind great ideas that simply don't fit in calls for projects, and that's one way of delivering competition. Continue to launch project competition, but find complementary routes to funding great research ambitions, not to have people chopping down and twisting their biggest idea just to fit in a call for projects. Another set of conclusions is that we need a DORA-type declaration on how researchers should align policies to evaluate collaboration as well. That the governing bodies should be multidisciplinary and multi-sector, and we encourage registered reports, to use registered reports if you are familiar with this. If not, you can get in touch in the break how to register reports and communicate not only positive results, but all your results. If the methodology, if the protocols are fine, and all your research phases. Storytelling is also important for embedding collaboration in your activities. Now, this is how locked science looks like. It pushes you to develop unique skills and infrastructure that compete for opportunities around research. And this is how open science would look like: create functions between collaboration and competition, not killing competition, but create functions between collaboration and competition to deliver more efficiency and effectiveness in research. If you really want to build research machines, you continue only on the principles of competitions. And because this is what competitions have been able to deliver so far, research machines. But if you want to build research communities, bring collaboration into this equation. Research communities instead of these well-oiled research machines. This is our proposal. Here are some examples of collaborations. One of them is openness and commercialization, which is delivered from the Structural Genomics Consortium. This is a public-private partnership that supports the discovery of medicine throughout the open access research. Have you wondered why medicine, especially those that are crucial in life-saving, why medicine are so expensive? Because they embed also the negative results. When you pay for a drug, you pay for the discovery of that drug and everything that was related in that discovery process, and it was negative, not good to be used. And then you imagine that the same thing is done in academics and in academic institutions and in pharma companies, going to the same conferences, trying to measure the same thing, to identify the same target molecules, if you are familiar with bio-life sciences, and which are mainly isolating all sorts of proteins, and trying to get drugs that influence these molecules by, for example, trying to isolate them, trying to help the body to cure against them. And this is why it's so expensive. Now this consortium, it consists on academic institutions, private institutions, funders, and they have a commitment to not duplicate this research. If you want to read more, you can also read about their platforms, which is an open science platform, and they have committees that decide what molecules, for example, to define as target molecules. So far, they identified 70 new target molecules, and this is a very young consortium. This is just one of the examples. Another one is, in my opinion, Go FAIR, if you are familiar with FAIR principles in research data. They are building 3 pillars: Go Change, Go Train, and Go Build. And this is how it looks for them, the pillars and the instruments that they have. If you look on your right-hand side, one of these tools that they are building together is a discovery tool, which is delivered by open knowledge maps. This discovery tool is not working on the principles of page results displays, if you search. They're based on mapping research and helping researchers, allowing researchers open source to provide their own map and to embed their own map of discoveries. And you can't have a better example of collaboration than looking to the list of partners and contributors in open knowledge maps. And I also recommend you reading the last report about Go Change, which is a training program, the workshop which was in Frankfurt this summer. It's very recent, and I highly recommend you again to read this report to see how normally competing organizations came together to deliver collaboration. I don't know what happens. Another example is the Leiden ranking system, which is developed by the Center for Science and Technologies at Leiden, which is a very prestigious institution. It is built on Clarivate data. And one of the indexes that they are measuring is, a set of indexes is collaboration indexes. So they stopped measuring only competition in the classical competition. So if you look to this collaboration, you will see, they also display the whole methodology, what they take into consideration for building these indexes, and you can have the methodology there. It's one good example that collaboration can be measured. Another example of collaboration which I'd like to point out is the Research Institute, which is a very, very new institute. It's a collaboration between Digital Science, Wellcome Trust, University of Sheffield, and this center from Leiden, and they are trying to do meta-research activities, including to emphasize the role of collaboration. It's an independent thing than what we did at CERN in the summer, and they are also looking for partners. They have an open invitation. I invite you to read their statements and to see if you are interested to be part of it. I'm coming close, I'm rushing up a bit, but I'm, as I said, time conscious. If you want to look for measurements, of course, as I said, collaboration is not meant to kill competition. It's a good addition, in my opinion, to competition. And I know that competition is measured by indexes, and I know that many of you agree that current indexes that are measuring the success in research should be changed. One way of doing that is by looking to the proposal of Professor Bernard Mentier from Lille, and he's proposing a matrix of metrics. And this is how his matrix of metrics is looking like. Again, I don't see the time now to go through all these metrics, but if you look to this, you will recognize that they could be naturally attached to measure collaboration, not only competition. And Professor Bernard Mentier, it's a far forward thinker in building new indexes for research. In my opinion, without a high level of collaboration, open science is, first of all, less vibrant, is disadvantaged, and could be a reversible movement. If we have it reversed now, we'll have it for many years that come. A movement that is not coming back. I hope you found this interesting. I'm here for questions. I hope I allowed some time for questions, and I hope we get back on track with our agenda. Sorry if I speed up too much on some of my slides.